The cold mountain wind swept across the narrow roads as Tarun stepped out of the bus. The hill station was beautiful, wrapped in mist and surrounded by dense forests. He had come alone, hoping for a peaceful vacation away from the noise of the city. After checking into a small hotel, he noticed a group of young travelers around his age sitting in the lobby. They were laughing, sharing stories, and planning their adventures. Tarun soon joined them, and within a few hours, they had become friends. That evening, after exploring the nearby hills, they gathered on the hotel's terrace. The sky was dark, and thick fog covered the valleys below. Someone brought up the topic of ghosts. "These hills are famous for haunted stories," said one of the boys. Another laughed. "Ghosts aren't real." "Then why don't we go ghost hunting tonight?" a girl challenged. Everyone cheered at the idea. At around midnight, the group quietly left the hotel. As they crossed the reception area, the elderly receptionist suddenly stood up. "Please don't go out tonight," he warned nervously. "Why?" asked Tarun. "There are places in these hills where people should not wander after dark." The group laughed. "We'll be back in an hour." The receptionist's face turned pale. "If you value your lives, stay away from the old mango garden." But nobody listened. The group walked through the silent streets illuminated only by dim streetlights. After some time, they noticed an old iron gate partially hidden behind bushes. A rusted sign read, "Private Mango Orchard." "This must be the place," someone exclaimed. Curiosity defeated caution. They pushed open the gate and entered. The garden was enormous. Hundreds of mango trees stretched into the darkness. The air felt strangely cold. As they moved deeper inside, a loud metallic clang echoed behind them. Everyone turned. The gate had slammed shut. Then came another sound. Thud! 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 Something was violently striking the tree branches. The entire garden suddenly came alive. Trees began shaking as if caught in a powerful storm. Branches snapped. Leaves flew through the air. The sound grew louder and closer. It was as though an invisible giant was smashing every tree around them. "What the hell is happening?" someone screamed. The trembling spread from one tree to another, rapidly surrounding them. Then they heard it, a woman's cry, long, painful, angry. The sound echoed from every direction at once. The group panicked. Everyone started running. The trees continued shaking violently, and several heavy branches crashed to the ground around them. Tarun looked back and froze. For a brief moment, he saw a pale girl standing beneath a tree. Her long black hair covered most of her face. Her white dress was stained with mud, and her eyes, they glowed with hatred. The next second she vanished. The group desperately climbed the garden wall and jumped to the road outside. The moment they escaped, everything became silent. No shaking, no cries, nothing. Breathing heavily, they ran all the way back to the hotel. The receptionist stared at their terrified faces. Without saying a word, he simply shook his head. The following morning, everyone checked out and left the hill station. None of them spoke about what happened, at least not for a while. 10 days later, Tarun received a phone call from one of the travelers. His voice trembled. "Something is wrong with Rohit." Rohit had been one of the boys who entered the garden. According to his family, he had started behaving strangely after returning home. He would wake up screaming at night. He talked to invisible people. Sometimes he stood motionless for hours, staring at corners of the room. Doctors found nothing physically wrong. Psychiatrists could not explain his condition. His condition worsened every day. Finally, his desperate parents took him to a priest. The priest listened carefully and then handed them a silver locket blessed with sacred prayers. "Make him wear this at all times," the priest instructed. The moment Rohit wore the locket, his behavior began improving. Within days, he was completely normal. Everyone believed the nightmare was over, but it wasn't. A few months later, Rohit attended a party with friends. While drinking and dancing, he removed the locket because it felt uncomfortable. He never wore it again that night. While driving home after midnight, his car suddenly swerved off the road and crashed into a tree. Rohit died instantly. The news devastated Tarun. But something about the accident didn't feel right. Why had the priest insisted on the locket? Why had Rohit recovered immediately after wearing it? And why did he die the same night he removed it? Unable to forget these questions, Tarun returned to the hill station. The hotel looked exactly the same. The old receptionist was still there. When Tarun mentioned the mango garden, the old man's face turned grim. I knew one day someone would come back asking questions. That evening, the receptionist revealed the horrifying truth. Many years ago, the garden belonged to a young woman named Mira. She lived alone after her parents died. The orchard was her life. One night, a group of drunken men entered the garden to steal mangoes. When Mira confronted them, they attacked her. She was brutally murdered and buried beneath one of the trees. The crime was never solved. Since then, strange incidents began occurring in the orchard. Anyone entering without permission reported hearing screams, seeing shadows, or feeling watched. Some visitors returned home normal. Others became disturbed. A few died under mysterious circumstances. The villagers believed Mira's restless spirit remained trapped within the garden, protecting it from trespassers. The priest's lockets were believed to weaken her influence. Without them, those marked by her spirit remained vulnerable. Taran wanted proof. Late that night, he returned to the orchard alone. The gate stood open. The trees were motionless. At the center of the garden stood the oldest mango tree. Beneath it, he discovered a weathered stone bearing a faded name. Mira. A sudden gust of freezing wind swept through the garden. The branches began trembling. The familiar crying sound echoed around him. Then he saw her, standing beneath the tree, pale, silent, watching. This time she spoke. "You entered my home." Her voice sounded like dozens of whispers speaking together. Tarun's body froze. "I didn't know," he whispered. For several seconds, she stared at him. Then something unexpected happened. The anger in her eyes faded. A single tear rolled down her cheek. "I only wanted them to leave." The trees stopped shaking. The wind disappeared. Slowly, her figure dissolved into the darkness. Tarun left the orchard and never returned. Years later, the mango garden still stands abandoned. Locals avoid it after sunset. Travelers occasionally report hearing strange cries among the trees. And on cold, misty nights, some claim they have seen a lonely girl in a white dress walking between the mango trees, guarding the land that once belonged to her, waiting, watching, and punishing anyone who enters without permission.